agrees that violent criminals don't belong in our communities. We all want our cities to be safe and have zero tolerance for violent crime, irrespective of the status of the perpetrator. Where we disagree is that my Republican colleagues prefer a selective application of the law to shield the President of the United States from accountability and this administration from the rule of law itself. In America, we uphold the rule of law, independent from partisan politics, without fear or favor. Betraying those convictions, President Trump's Department of Justice has tried to force the conditional dismissal of very serious charges against one of our witnesses here today, in exchange for that witness's total and complete submission to the radical immigration agenda being propounded by the administration. And the DOJ has done so over the objections of a Republican acting U.S. attorney who President Trump appointed. Rather than enabling a flagrant corruptive quid pro quo, 7 federal prosecutors, 7, including Republicans, resigned. One of them, a former clerk to Chief Justice John Roberts of the Supreme Court, said that anyone in his position, quote, would know that our laws and traditions do not allow using the prosecutorial power to influence other citizens, much less elected officials, in this way. History is calling on us now to stand up for those laws and traditions. Doing so also demands an affirmation of state and local sovereignty in determining the most effective ways to keep residents safe in compliance with federal law. To deny this sovereignty is an assault on the independence of every American city across the country. Today, Republicans have hauled before us the mayors of 4 major American cities to frame them as lawless, because those cities have some limits on how intrusively and aggressively their own officials can conduct federal immigration operations and responsibilities. Let's be clear. The state and local laws that Republicans have issue with today are in full compliance with federal law. They do not obstruct ICE from carrying out its duties, and they are backed by evidence demonstrating that they keep people safe and safer in counties with laws that do not honor extrajudicial civil detainers and had significantly lower levels of violent crime than counties that have them. Mayors, police chiefs, sheriffs, and local leaders have made clear that the way to combat violent crime is allowing local police to do their local job of ensuring public safety in their own communities as they account for it. Commandeering them to spend limited time and resources as federal agents is a non-starter and can contribute to crime and non-cooperation in immigrant communities throughout the country. At this year's Conservative Political Action Conference, Board Czar Tom Homan said he is, quote, bringing hell to the city of Boston until it complies with his demands. I don't know what that means. Boston is my hometown, and I'm glad to welcome our mayor, Mayor Wu, and her 1-month-old baby here today. But I don't know that Boston welcomes Mr. Homan or anyone else bringing hell to the city. The Republican crusade against local independence doesn't just undermine public safety in our communities. It is blatantly cruel, and I say inhumane and un-American. Kenya Colindres, her husband Wilson Rogelio Velasquez Cruz, and their 3 children came to the United States in 2022 seeking asylum, a legal category of immigration, after escaping violence in Honduras. Wilson was granted a 5-year work permit, allowing him to work at a tire shop and to provide for his family here in the United States. Kenya said that her husband had never been in trouble and was, quote, a man of God. On January 26, the family of 5 was in church when Wilson was lured out by an ICE agent waiting to arrest him. Despite having valid work permits, the Trump administration refused to hear his appeal and is actively deporting him. Wilson was the sole breadwinner for his family. Now Kenya has to worry about how she's going to pay the bills and take care of her 3 children, on top of the fears that she and her children might be next. Last week in El Monte, California, Sidley, a woman who was battling bone cancer, tearfully watched as her mother Yolanda cried inconsolably as she was detained by ICE agents who refused to even present the detention order. Yolanda was Sidley's sole caretaker in her struggle against cancer and has no criminal record. And now Sidley is on her own. ICE is also conducting massive raids in cities and towns that have led to the wrongful detention of U.S. citizens, including Native Americans and military veterans. One school district sent a letter to parents warning that ICE may board school buses and demand documents from children. Children are going to be afraid to go to school. One reportedly wrote a goodbye note to friends saying, quote, "If ICE takes me, don't forget about me. If ICE takes me, don't forget about me." From a child. Is that the country we want? America needs immigration policies that keep everyone safe and make the country stronger and allow us to grow and fill in the skill sets we don't have. If President Trump was serious about delivering those solutions, he would not be attacking the Constitution's guarantee of citizenship to children born in the United States. To see our country through this period of darkness, we need leaders who will stand up for the rule of law and will champion public safety at the local level. And American families, whether they're immigrant families or native-born families, deserve due process, deserve respect, and deserve that statue of liberty that welcomes all comers. I yield back.
Ranking Member yields back. I request unanimous consent that Representatives LaHood of Illinois, LaLota of New York, Crank of Colorado, Malatakis of New York, Hurd of Colorado, Evans of Colorado, Van Dyne of Texas, Ocasio-Cortez of New York, Gillen of New York, and Davis of Illinois be waived onto today's hearing for the purpose of asking questions. Without objection, so ordered. And now, before we introduce the witnesses, I recognize Mr. Higgins from Louisiana for 20 seconds.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I thank the ranking member as well. Just to briefly, respectfully recognize the presence of the family of Wesley Haynes, a constituent. I'll speak to his case in my time, Mr. Chairman. But his parents, Patrick and Kathy, his wife, Olivia, his little brother, Brady, are present today, and they have a hard exit soon. Their 4-month-old daughter, Anne Marie, is waiting at home for Olivia to care for. And I just respectfully acknowledge their presence, Mr. Chairman and Mr. Ranking Member. We will discuss the details of their case. They tragically lost Wesley Haynes last year. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for allowing me to recognize this beautiful American family.
Thank you, Mr. Higgins. I'm very pleased today to welcome our outstanding witness panel, the mayors of 4 major American cities. First, we have Mayor Eric Adams, who's the outstanding mayor of New York City. He was sworn into office on January 1st, 2022. We have Mayor Mike Johnson, who's the mayor of the city and county of Denver. He was sworn into office on July 17th, 2023. I now recognize Representative Krista Morte from Illinois for 1 minute to introduce our next witness.
Mr. Chair, I'm pleased to introduce Brandon Johnson, mayor of the greatest city in the world, namely Chicago, a city that was built by generations of immigrants, people like my parents and myself. Mayor Johnson was raised in Elgin, Illinois, which I'm proud to represent in Congress. The mayor was one of 10 children born to Andrew and Wilma Jean Johnson. His parents inspired him to become a teacher in the Chicago Public Schools and then later to run for office. Mayor Johnson won his first race for Cook County Commissioner in 2018 and later became mayor of Chicago in 2023. Mayor Johnson has dedicated his life to public service, and I'm pleased to welcome my fellow Illinoisan to the United States House of Representatives and to the Oversight Committee. Welcome, Mayor.
I now recognize Representative Presley from Massachusetts for 1 minute to introduce our next witness.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm proud to introduce Mayor Michelle Wu, a dedicated leader committed to making Boston a welcoming home for everyone, and the first woman and person of color to be elected mayor of the city of Boston. For over a decade, I've had the privilege of working alongside Mayor Wu and witnessing her dedication to public service firsthand. She leads with compassion, she is innovative and inclusive. Under her leadership, Boston has become the safest major city in America, a city that is welcoming to families from all walks of life. Just weeks ago, she welcomed her newest family member, baby Mira, who is with us today, a beautiful reminder of the future she's working to build. Madam Mayor, I am grateful for your partnership, friendship, and leadership. Thank you for being here.
Gentlelady yields back. And finally, we're also joined by Mr. David Beer, who is the Director of Immigration Studies at the Cato Institute. Mr. Beer is the minority witness here today. I want to thank you all again for joining us, and I look forward to our discussion this afternoon. Pursuant to Committee Rule 9G, the witnesses will please stand and raise their right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Let the record show that the witnesses answered in the affirmative. Thank you all. You may take a seat. We, again, appreciate you being here today and look forward to your testimony. Now, let me remind the witnesses that we have read your written statement, and they will appear in full in the hearing record. Please limit your oral statement to 5 minutes, and we're going to limit our questions to 5 minutes, and that's going to be enforced today, and that's for both sides. As a reminder, please press the button on the microphone in front of you so that it is on and the members can hear you. When you begin to speak, the light in front of you will turn green. After 4 minutes, the light will turn yellow. When the red light comes on, your 5 minutes has expired, and we would ask that you please wrap up. I now recognize Mayor Adams for his opening statement.
Good morning, Chairman Comer, Ranking Member Connolly, and members of the committee. As mayor of New York City and a former police officer for 22 years, keeping New Yorkers safe is my top priority, and it has been our administration's North Star. When I entered this role, my job was to help our city recover from the negative effects of COVID. Most importantly, to bring down crime. As a result, overall crime was down across New York City last year, and we have now had 3 straight months of double-digit declines in major crimes. I'm here today to testify on how New York City can continue to reduce crime, even as a sanctuary city. To be clear, a sanctuary city classification does not mean our city will ever be a safe haven